Wanted to start out today and express from our organization to the Dallas Cowboys organization our condolences. After the tragic passing of Marshawn Kneeland, we did host him for a visit during the draft process and got to know him pretty well. So unfortunate, and I talked to the team today, and it was not my first time referencing mental health with our team. Not only the resources that we have available, but how we are, in this building, we're each other's partners in mental health, and making sure the players always know I'm available 24/7, 365 days a year, to be whatever resource that I can personally be, but most importantly, the resources that we provide our guys that are so important. Mental health is a real thing, and it's something that's always on my mind in regards to not only our players, but as a former player, all NFL players. So just wanted to start with that and make sure our condolences and prayers are with the Kneeland family. And I just wanted to start there. Excited for our team to get a chance to be back at US Bank Stadium in front of our fans. Hopefully we get our usual one-of-one electric environment in US Bank Stadium. A really good football team coming to town. We're going to have to play really well to win the game. Giving you guys an injury update, we'll have two players ruled out for the game, Jeff Okudah and Josh Oliver. Two players questionable, Theo Jackson and Aaron Jones. No one else in the game will go in with a designation. Open it up to you guys.
Sorry, the way that Nick Vannett stepped into Josh's role last week, played a big amount of snaps. What does that mean just to the offense to have him step in like that?
Yeah, I think he's a guy that we went out and got for a reason. Veteran presence, kind of along the lines of what Josh Oliver brings is Nick's skill set, and you want to make sure you fill that tight end room with as unique of a role and a setup as we have here, with really what we feel like is one of the best combinations of tight ends with Josh and TJ in the National Football League. But we feel really good about the depth we have. Not only Nick, there's a reason why we made sure to bring Ben Sims back to the building with Polecat, Ben Jurasik, and then we've got Bryson on the practice squad, along with Nick, that we feel like gives us a skill set that those guys are always progressing, working, and making sure they're ready when their number's called.
Okudah, is that still like he's experiencing symptoms, or is it just precautionary?
He's still in the protocol. I think from a standpoint of just, I think it's pretty obvious we handle this with a certain level of care, and it starts with the medical team and the protocol that's in place for a reason. But yeah, he's you never want to get into, as a coach, counting concussions and things like that. But with this one, we want to be extra cautious, and he is still in a place where he's not symptom-free in regards to the protocol. That's the best I can give you, and we'll continue to kind of update you as we go. But his health is the number one priority for sure.
Did Aaron practice in full today, or was he limited?
It felt like he was limited today, but he did participate and practiced today. He looked. We wanted to make sure we gave him the early part of the week, not push it too early, and I think we reaped the benefits of that today.
You'll have CJ Ham. How much better is it going into a game knowing you'll have that option?
Yeah, it always, it's not just as a fullback. You guys know that. It's his role that he plays on special teams. It's his role he plays as a leader. It's his role he plays on third down, depending on the game and what we view as the best way to not only have protection, but just one of our smartest, most prepared football players I've ever been around, and for sure on this team. It does, as a coach, give you so much confidence levels, that with Aaron and JP and Zay and CJ, we've got really a group of four when they're healthy, and Ty Chandler's working his way back as well. So really good situation in our running back room, and CJ being up and available, back healthy, is such a great thing for our team.
Running back pass pro is as important as it's ever been, or same as always?
Yeah, I just think, the days of seeing just a four down front and people just rushing straight forward. Those days are few and far between. There's been a lot of evolution to pass rush games, and not only that, but ways to manipulate slides and understand how to make the back stay in protection, and you can schematically try to do things to play that game with an opponent. But I don't know whether it's the evolution of all these senior assistants that go from one team to another that know systems and things like that, but it just feels like people are attacking not only protections, because the days of getting true free runners are with the systems evolving on the protection world, those are harder and harder, but with that becomes a chance to activate more one-on-ones maybe in your favor, and those stunts in games that can be really hard on teams trying to sort out who is indeed coming and getting your 5 or 6 on the 5 or 6 that are coming. So it's a back and forth, sometimes even in-game ebbs and flows of how you want to handle certain looks, and I think it's a major part of every NFL game that gets played every single Sunday. Yeah, I've always liked Asante, and I know he's taken a lot of visits, and I think the big thing for him specifically, just in regards to where he's been at from a health standpoint, is I think he wants to make sure everybody totally understands where he's at health-wise, and I know he wants to play football. So I know, just like any other personnel situation, our personnel guys are doing the best they can to always evaluate anything that would be a good move for the Minnesota Vikings and help us win. That's what those guys do.
What have you seen from Will Fries lately, and how important has he been to that O-line room?
Yeah, I mean, you look at where our season's kind of gone up front there, and the ebbs and flows. Will's been a rock for us, and I think he's kind of really coming into his own, finding his stride within our system, both the run and pass game. You feel his physicality on game day. You feel his ability to come off the rock. Even in a noisy environment the other day, he was noticeable early on in the game. Him and B.O. working together in combinations, or him and Blake in an interior combination, you could feel that. And then I think coming off the injury, the one area he probably needed a little time to work through early on in the season was pass pro, and you feel him really coming into his own there as well. So been really happy with Will, and most importantly, he's been kind of one of those guys that has been a part of just about every combination we've had. I think all 18 of them, or whatever it's been.
Has he had to take on more responsibility just because he's been the only consistent one in that group?
Maybe not directly, but I think indirectly it happens, just playing with 3 different centers next to him, playing with multiple tackles, in many cases in game next to him. There is communication that works inside out, outside in, within what we do in the run and pass phase. So I'm, it's really something where guards, there's only so much. They're normally conveyors of information, either inside out or outside in from the lineman next to him, but I'm sure that he's felt a little bit more of a role, to maybe even a leadership role, regardless of who's in there with him, that not only my play and performance needs to be to a standard, but I'm going to bring guys along with me.
What stood out about JJ and Max's relationship now that they're working together as starter and backup?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where in many ways, JJ mentally maybe, got a full year, around everything, but physically they're not too far off. And Max actually being older than JJ, it's one of those dynamics of football nowadays, with college football being the way it is and the transfer portal, and there still are the players like JJ who go to one school and come out and start their pro career, but then there's other guys who work their way through a couple spots and eventually become really good versions of themselves, and maybe that experience being different from what JJ had. I've seen just the two of them just kind of connect in ways where it's not necessarily in the meeting room time with Josh and Jordan or myself or Wes, but it's more of the watching Third Down together on Wednesday nights. It's watching Red Zone on Thursdays. It's watching what are they doing post game Monday and Tuesday to make sure they're not only getting the most out of the Sunday tape, but also getting ahead on the next opponent. You spend so much time. I can remember some of my greatest accomplishments if you will. It's a very, very strong word. As a player, we're maybe in the meeting room and the role and impact I could have with the guy playing. So it's been really cool to watch, and I think it's important for any quarterback, wherever you're at in the depth chart, to understand you have a major role within that room with a lot of smart people in there.
What do you think it meant to JJ this week to have a game and then a normal week and process to build up to this game?
JJ, a lot of other guys too. I mean, just to have that normal Sunday game, and then knowing we've got a noon US Bank Stadium game. Practice week was really good for our whole team. We had a really good week of practice, but you can also feel guys are into their routines that they hope to really establish as their weekly rhythm going into the season. So my hope is we've got a nice stretch here of Sunday to Sunday games that everybody really locks in on what that looks like and maximizes the time we do have and make sure we go into the game prepared.
Just in terms of the kickoff, it's shot up almost, I think 70% are being returned. How does that help you with so many young players on this team in terms of like the evaluation of what guys can do?
There's just so many more plays, and it's a unique play. There's no question it's a unique play, but there's just so many, the game day roster where, maybe you would have looked at certain positions as a little bit more, negotiable for the game day roster. Now you say that's a must. You need this many body types, this many skill sets to make sure that you understand it's maybe the one play in special teams that has been so unique for this year. It's affecting starting field position. It's affecting the ability to respond when a team scores, as we saw in Detroit early on in the game. And then I just think as teams get more comfortable with, the schemes, the body types, the type of players that are in there, and those guys start to get more accumulated reps, you're seeing high level of execution. It's still probably, I don't have any data on this, it feels like one of the more penalized plays on either side around the NFL. And I think that'll continue to come down as guys kind of learn the space or lack thereof that there is on the play. But it's every single Sunday, it's a critical play, and I think Miles Price has had a big time role in both not only the kick return but the punt return phase of understanding what it can be for our team, especially where we've been at. Statistically in previous years, it was a major thing we wanted to try to make sure we were doing to play the type of complementary football we wanted to play. Thanks, guys.